Hey, welcome to a brand new episode of the Creators Outlet with our special guest tonight, the Comics Aardvark. How you doing, buddy?
Hey, how's it going? Thanks for having me on. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah, I had to go back and check the Indiegogo page and be like, wow, he doesn't sound like he's from New York. Oh, wow.
Right. Yeah, I was cosmically displaced, let's put it that way.
Oh,
Um,
boy.
yeah, but I'm here now, and I reside in the United States. And yeah, yeah,
Very good.
out here making great comics.
Yeah, how long have you been out here?
Uh, 4 years.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, yeah.
Welcome.
I'll be an American next year.
Oh, congratulations. Hey, crazy Matt.
Hail Crazy Mad. He's a big supporter of Aquila, of me and my stuff I'm making out there. So Crazy Mad, great guy, top fella. Really appreciate
Awesome.
him.
So let's start with a comic book bio of yourself.
Right. So you mean like the history of how I got into comics, making comics, and
Yeah, how you got into comics and how long
right.
you've been crafting.
So yeah, I've wanted to be a writer ever since I was old enough to hold a pencil. I've always been drawing like monsters and superheroes and characters ever since I was a child. And particularly the writing, I loved creating universes with dynamic laws and rules and all these kinds of tropes of a setting, and really putting my own spin on things that I loved when I was growing up when I was a kid. The emergence into creating comics came around 2017 when some pretty rough feedback I'd got a couple of years earlier had diverted me off the path of creating comics, but some really positive reinforcement came in the way of a guy called Kimo Sabe, who's out in this
Oh yeah.
comic world. He really put me back on track, and he gave me a lot of encouragement and told me that he thinks that I have the potential to be the best Silver Age comic writer who didn't live in the Silver Age. Which, that kind of praise coming from a writer as good as him really steered me on the path. And it only took about 5 years, but I kind of crossed a milestone with my age recently, and I realized I wasn't where I wanted to be when I was in the schoolyard 25 years earlier. And I really hit the start button on getting into creating comics and becoming a full-time writer. And AQUILA is basically the first plant that is grown out of a seed that's been germinating for a long time.
Yeah, I've talked to. Matter of fact, I just had Colonel Crackhead on Jeremy Thurfelt from ZADE Studios.
Right. Yeah,
You
a
know,
good friend of
not
mine. I spoke with them quite a lot recently, and I'm going to be on a show tomorrow.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I had him. I had him on last Wednesday, and his project has been floating around, and he's been working on it since he was in high school. So, you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
there's quite a few people like, yeah, I kind of came up with the base idea for this when I was like 10 years old. How old are
Right.
you now? 55. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah. Well, before the internet, before crowdfunding, a lot of people didn't really have the opportunity to get into this sector, and it's not like it's not like applying for a job as I don't know, like a logistics coordinator, right? Where you have a degree and then you apply for the position, and then you go through the interview, and then eventually somebody gives you a job. Like even the big creators in this realm, where we have people like EVS and Shane Davis and stuff. EVS was making indie comics himself. He was making Cyberfrog before he got a big job at DC and before he got a job at Marvel. But back in those days, it was a lot easier, you know.
Yeah.
It was a lot more difficult, but I mean, it was a lot easier to get hired by Marvel and DC because they weren't run by commissars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nowadays, for a first time creator, you know, in my shoes, you know, religious Catholic, it's not really going to go down very well. It's getting a job in at the big two, and those kinds of opportunities don't present themselves like they have anymore.
Yeah, I think there were, you know, bright sides to it back then, and better
Hmm.
sides to it now. I think
Right.
one of the problems nowadays is like anybody can make a comic. Yeah, but
Yeah.
it doesn't mean everybody should make a comic.
Absolutely.
Like, I would love to make a comic. I'm like, no, I don't finish anything, except this show.
Right.
I've been till
Yeah.
the cows come home, but I'm like, I know what I like when I read something. But so just off
Yeah.
of writing styles, because this book is, you know, superhero sci-fi stuff out in the cosmos.
Yeah.
Um, what creator is top of the notch for you as far as cosmic storytelling goes?
So, you'll. This is quite a contrarian opinion. I'm not a weebophobe. I'm not afraid of things coming from the East. I'm very, very open about the fact that I'm very heavily inspired by Dragon Ball. And the reason for that is
I'm
because
sorry.
Akira
I get
Toriyama,
yeah.
regardless of where you stand on the position, he's created a universe that is a perfect synthesis of fantasy and science fiction. Dragon Ball is so uniquely it's so uniquely constructed that you could have people talking about martial arts and chi and you know uh, martial arts and chi and kind of Taoist principles, while simultaneously fighting an alien from another galaxy or another dimension you know, who has an alien empire that conquers worlds and then sells it at a higher price. You know, like there's this weird kind of like seriousness and whimsicalness that is tied together within it, and so that is something that I see. I see as a big inspiration. But in addition to that, I also hold George Lucas very highly. One of the things I always say with Aquila is that I took everything that I loved when I was a child and put it in a blender, and Aquila is what came out, and that's what George Lucas did with Star Wars. He got retro science fiction serials, he got Western movies, and he got samurai movies, and he put that together and made something called Star Wars, which was quite popular. It was quite popular for about 40 years until some events happened. But you know, those two are really the people that I hold in highest esteem when it comes to creating
Comics made Dean. Hail.
Hail. Yeah, Dean is the very humble. He's a very humble guy. He created the one of the covers for the book, and he also did the letters. So his touch is very much. He's got a bit of a Midas touch in a way. He's helped make my writing turn into something a lot something gold.
Yeah. I always say the two keys to a book when you pick it up is you want you want a good letterer. You know, outside of the art and story, you want a good letterer,
Yeah.
and you want a good editor.
Yeah, and I'm blessed because I think everybody that's touched this campaign has really elevated it in some way. People say that the letters are the soundtrack of the comic, and I couldn't agree more. Dean very recently finished the letters on the definitive edition of Aquila. He finished those at the weekend, and I can tell the art is amazing and incredible, but again, it just elevates everything that Dean that Cari and Avery put on the page. The letters have just made it a whole other dimension.
Crazy says humble isn't the word he'd use.
Yeah. I think sometimes my sarcasm goes lost in translation. But Dean is one of those people where he's how do I say, he is driven by wanting to get better. He's very I don't know how you explain it. He's powered by positive criticism, and one of the reasons why he's leveling up so as quickly as he is as a creator is because of all the feedback people are giving him. The positive reinforcement really is very maybe it's the secret to Dean's power. I don't know.
I think he just wants to make enough money to get out of Australia.
That could be true. That could be. I don't know.
The digital comic capital of the world, because man, to Australia is crazy.
Right. Yeah. Well, the internet is making things a bit easier. Like the people that worked on this is an international team that worked on the comic. I wrote it, and then Kima Sabe edited it, so he's an Australian. Michael Oden, who's an American, he also edited it. He co-edited it.
Oh yeah, I've known Oden for years. Yeah.
Yeah. So I've got 3 editors, and then Cari, who's the artist, she's from the Philippines.
Nice.
And Avery is also from the Philippines. I don't know what part they're from, but they could be from completely different islands in the Philippines. And the Philippines isn't like a monoculture where everybody's, speaks the same language, has the same ethnic groups. The Philippines is a patchwork of various different cultures. And on top of that, I'm not American. I'm not yet, at least. I'm English. So there's that touch as well. And like I said, everybody who's worked on the campaign is they've all brought their own style. They've all brought their own different ways to elevate the project, and it really is a team effort, and it's been a great experience, and just a great crop of people to work with. And Dean, of course, Dean's Australian as well, so multi-continental effort.
Oh yeah. Matter of fact, I bought the book that The Embrace that Dean Oden worked on. It was fantastic.
And yeah, it's one of those books that you can really hold as a testament to. I really don't like to use the terminology, but the slumps, right? Because we're out there and we're putting out books that are of the quality of The Embrace, and The Embrace is one of those. Like I said, it's one of those books that you can say, well, why is it that two guys who have barely made any comics before can put together a masterpiece, and yet the mainstream and people who have got the backing of multi-billion-dollar international conglomerates, they can't put out a book that looks as good or reads as well as The Embrace. And if they do, it's like, holy crap, it's like a massive surprise. We're out here putting out books like Aquila and Beckoned and The Embrace. We're out here putting out incredible books pretty much on a weekly basis. It just goes to show how much the level of talent of people that we've got out here, and we're busting our asses as well. And it's everything's eventually all these seeds will blossom into an incredible jungle of untold amounts of bountifulness. Yeah.
Crazy says The Embrace is a masterpiece. Number 2 is going to be exceptional.
Well, going off the cover, going off the pages I've seen, going off all the conversations that I've had with Dean and Oden, because, like I said, they worked on this project too. I've got a group of people who are working on this comic, and everything that they've done before this has been praised. This is my first book, but it's Dean provided the cover and the letters. He's experienced. He's worked on The Embrace. Kima Sabe, he's done Company Men, a book that was slipped under a radar for a lot of people, but it was a massive dark horse. and a lot of people had high praises of that book. And after it was it was given a boost when people received it and read it, and all the high praise that it got when it was when people started to actually see what chemo was capable of. With both those books, with the Embrace and with the Embrace 2 and Company Men 2, we're going to see touch wood, we're going to see those two projects have incredible success if they continue on the trajectory that the first two did.
Oh yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I always give Dean a hard time when I catch him in a chat. I'm like, "Hey, where's Embrace number 2?"
Well, I've got some insider information, so it's coming soon. Let's put it that way.
Oh, very good. I'll be looking forward to that, I'm sure.
Absolutely. But if you're still waiting for the Embrace, strong recommendation that you get AQUILA, because the team that worked on AQUILA as well.
Oh
and
yeah,
still in demand. So if you want something to plug the hole, you can definitely find comfort in knowing that the AQUILA is out there.
Speaking of which, let's take a look at this. Oh, I was already scrolling. So it's still in demand. AQUILA of the Phoenix Guard,
Yes.
number 1, Nightmare Fuel.
Yes.
So let's start by asking, since you labeled it a number 1.
Yes.
How many issues do you see in like the storyline, or at least the first arc?
So, what I want with this franchise, I guess you would call it, is that every comic is going to be somebody's first comic. That's a Stan Lee motto that I've kind of taken to heart. So every single issue of the story will have a different bad guy, a different story, a different plot, everything's going to be, besides AQUILA doing his job in the solar system, everything else is going to be different planet, different moon, all of that sort of stuff. As of so far, I've written about 12 full scripts for this character. Like I said, there are some issues that are kind of like 2-parters, maybe 4-parters, but I would probably release them as like a compendium, as like I'd probably do them as like a solid like 100-page book or something, rather than release. But I've done like 12, 25, 16 to 25-page stories. And obviously we're in the draft stage. Nothing's ever really finished until your artist starts drawing it. But yeah, like I've done about 12. I see unlimited potential with this story, with this character. The space is a big place. It's enormous. There's untold amounts of planets and stars and solar systems and galaxies that we can explore. But what makes AQUILA different from a lot of other science fiction superheroes is that he does small-scale crime. So he's a space cop. He's a member of an organization called the Phoenix Guard. Every solar system has got one Phoenix Guard. Doesn't matter how much crime there is per solar system. Obviously, some neighborhoods are safer than others. It doesn't make any sense to us living on Earth, especially me living in New York. But the Phoenix, to an alien, it makes a lot of sense that one Phoenix Guard per solar system. And it just so happens that our solar system, given that there's not really much here, there's just a bunch of rocks and one planet with savages that throw bits of metal at each other. It's a good hideaway for alien criminals. And so our corner of space is populated by the worst scum in the galaxy, and AQUILA's got his hands cut out. And so I really wanted that to... AQUILA's got a job really cut out for him. And I really wanted to get that across with how the story is written, that every week there can be different villains. Some villains that have been hiding out there for years, some villains that are just passing through wanting to cause some trouble. And in this book, he comes across the latter of sorts, a evil space squatch, who is he's got a gang of criminal scum that deal deadly, explosive, spontaneously combustible fuel that people are putting in their cars, well, their space cars.
Well, I'm looking. I'm seeing 181 backers,
Yeah.
and you didn't do too bad because there were some gorgeous pieces of original art that were available when the campaign went live.
Yeah.
I don't suspect they lasted very long.
Yeah, all three of them have been sold. The Dean piece was sold to Crazy Mad, who is in the chat.
Oh, nice.
He got that with it. I think he was like backer number 7 or something, and he got that, and he actually has the Dean cover now in his possession physically. That's arrived all the way from Australia, and the Elliot Rodriguez piece has been. That was bought within the first 10 hours, and the Rich Ayala piece sold a bit later on in the campaign. But that's going to be shipped out when the books are printed.
I love Rich. Rich and I are local to each other, so.
Oh, cool. Yeah, he's a great guy. He's an amazing talent. He did a really cool piece that we're going to use as a trading card for the campaign. Yeah, like I said, everybody that contributed to this campaign has done a phenomenal job.
So we had the Space Defender pack.
Yeah.
Which was very popular. Because these collectible boxes are all the rage because now you don't have to find a spot in your collection depending on the size of the book to put them in a box.
Right, and the benefit of that book is that you'll get both editions of the book. You'll get a cool Phoenix Guard badge pin. You'll get a Black Skull Gang patch that you can put on your clothing, and you're also going to get a really cool 6-inch acrylic standee. So, as well as the box, you get a bunch of other cool items to flesh out your collection. On top of that, you also get the other perks that everyone else gets too.
Yeah, the standees have become very popular. I just got like 2 mittfuls of standees in my Mavericks collector's box that came in the other week.
Yeah. Well, they're a very cool way of promoting your character and your project. And if you can't make action figures, they're the next best thing.
Yeah, because they come apart. They're more durable than action figures. If they fall off the bookcase and they hit the floor,
right?
The most they're going to do is come out of the push-in stand piece,
right? So, and they're probably gonna, they're probably easier to store as well.
Yeah.
If you need to move house or redecorate or whatever, they're really convenient. But we've got a really cool standee. When we get down there on the page, we can take a look. We've got an awesome contribution to the standee collections out there.
And you have, even though Dean's in the chat, I'm going to call it anyhow. You have the Australian variant prototype digital edition. If somebody wants to check out like the original line art and
no, that's not what it is. No.
Oh, okay. I stand corrected.
So the original version of so I kind of went into this blind. I didn't really know what I was doing. Like I said, it was a spur of the moment kind of. I'm 30 years old. I haven't achieved what I wanted to do in my life, and I kind of just spontaneously found an artist online and asked him to make this script a reality. And the unfortunate side effect of that is that it wasn't an artist who I knew personally. It wasn't an artist that I really knew their reputation. And they tried their best. They tried really hard. They just weren't used to drawing science fiction, and they didn't quite meet the expectations that I had. And at the time when I was promoting and when I was launching, there was some really amazing campaigns that were coming out. Roach Balls was coming out, and Reaper Destroyer was coming out. Cerebrum was coming out. These books that had phenomenal art, And I didn't want my first endeavor into the realm of Comicsgate to be a book that I wasn't completely happy with. So I took this enormous gamble, and I wasn't comfortable with selling to people who going on streams and selling a book that I wasn't totally satisfied with. I didn't want people to spend their hard-earned cash, especially in today's economy. I didn't want people to, blow an hour's wage or plus on a book that they were they would probably be unhappy with by the end of it. And so I took this huge gamble, but it definitely paid off, and I got the book completely redrawn by Cari Salviejo. However, as a businessman, I still want to make money on that original investment, right? And I think there is some good stuff in there, and it's a good little addition to the campaign. This prototype edition, it's got a different ending. It's got a completely different ending. So if you get this with the main edition, with the Cari Salviejo art and this additional prototype edition, you'll get two different endings, so you'll get two different stories, really. And Dean did the letters on both of those, and he's in the chat right now. Comics Mate, he'll confirm. Yeah, they're completely different books, and they're well worth getting. Just to compare and contrast, really, just to see the completely different art styles and the different story and the different ending. And the new ending is so much better, as Dean says. Yeah, the new ending is so much more exciting, and you're gonna love it.
Hey, Jeremy, welcome. Wow.
He's becoming a bit of a local celebrity now. He's making it big with his Dragons content, with his Game of Thrones content. So we're lucky that he's still hanging around with us down here. But I appreciate it, Jeremy. We're all going to make it, bro.
The new ending is so much better.
Yeah. Well, we've got, the art is Cari, and it's a much more, dare I say, explosive ending. So yeah, everyone's going to enjoy it when they get their hands on it. Because the book is so short, because it's only 24 pages, I've not been able to reveal a lot, because if I showed any more than I have, everything in the book is going to be spoiled. So I'm really excited to see how people respond to that third act when everything just kind of goes haywire for Aquila. Yeah, Pandora's box opens.
And the Interstellar edition.
Yes. So that's got the Dean cover. If you want to scroll down to the covers, and we'll get a bigger look at the. So those are the pages. That's what the interior art looks like. Absolutely incredible. And like I said earlier, if you're impressed by that, Dean's letters have really just brought it to a whole other level. This book is probably going to be one of the best looking books in people's collections, because it's just a phenomenal piece of art, just a great collaboration. But if you want to check out Dean's cover, it's completely hand-drawn, traditional, hand-inked, and hand-colored, using Dean's trademark Copic style.
There it is.
There it is, yeah. I think you get a closer look as well when on the where the original art is.
There it is.
Yeah, so Dean is an absolutely incredible artist, and he's only leveling up. He's getting better and better by the day, and he did this completely traditional in a traditional hand. Everything on the page is done by hand. He did it with Copic markers, which gives it that really vibrant color palette.
Mm-hmm.
And for just $10 you can get that, which is $10. It's for what you're going to get. It's really affordable, and it's a really great entry point, especially with a cover looking like that.
And then just goes further into stretch goals.
Yeah.
Then we have the Lone Phoenix Guard, which is a wraparound cover.
It's a Virgin wraparound cover. I'm not sure if I can say that word, but it is a It is a wraparound cover, yes. So there's not going to be any title or names on the cover. It's just going to be that beautiful standoff between Aquila and the Black Skull Gang. And in this edition of the book, you're going to get it's going to be there's going to be some additional pages in the back with character profiles. Every character in this book has got a backstory written for them. Some of them pages long. Even the bad guys and the goons in the background, they've got backgrounds. They've got homeworlds, origins, species, all this kind of stuff. And that's because, like I said earlier, I'm really inspired by George Lucas, and I love that. Some background character who was in Jabba's palace has got a like 48-page backstory. We know what their favorite food is. We know what days his teeth fell out when he was a child. It's like we have a very, very and very, very comprehensive backgrounds on characters that don't seem to be of much importance to the main story, but brings a whole much deeper level of what do you call it?
Like world building.
Yeah, world building and immersion. That's the word I was looking for.
Oh yeah. Jeremy says that you're allowed to say wraparound.
Well, it was the word before that. I think maybe I can't say it.
I'll say it. I don't care. Virgin.
Yeah. Virgin wraparound cover. So it's a good. Like I said, you're gonna get that, and you're gonna get some bonus pages. You're gonna get behind the scenes. You can take a look at my terrible, very early sketch of a character that would eventually become Aquila. Somehow, a drawing of a Roman soldier became a space cop. Don't ask how. I don't know, but it somehow he transformed, and those Roman elements are still there with the character design in some places. But that was the you're gonna get that, and you're gonna get like a visual dictionary page where just you get a diagram of Aquila with little arrows coming off him describing what each part of his suit does and all that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And here's the Elliot Rodriguez original art.
Yep, that got sold within 10 hours of the campaign launching. If you scroll down, you can show that. That's going to be a mini print that everybody gets. It'll be in the stretch goals section.
Here we go.
We have the so all the stretch goals have met. So these are things that people definitely will get on the campaign. That's the Rich Ayala piece I talked about earlier. Rich, that's going to be a trading card that everybody who backs gets. Like we said earlier, Rich is a phenomenal talent. I think he's one of the most unique artists in this space. We can see just by looking at it that it's a Rich Ayala piece. It's the Roach Balls guy.
Mm-hmm.
And
I think if Heavy Metal Magazine was just starting up today, that he would have one hell of a career doing stories in that magazine.
Absolutely. And that's one of the downsides of where we are right now. But things are only growing. We're going to get bigger and bigger, and we're going to go places that nobody's ever been before. We've got such an incredible team of talent in this area of the internet that we're just at any time it's going to blow up. So we're all going to go places. We're all going to make it. And you're also going to get the 6 a.m. Comics magnet. They exist. I have them tangibly in my living room, and there is one on my refrigerator right now.
Oh, cool.
So I'm a mag lad. Some people are team bookmarks. Some people are team stickers. I'm a mag lad. I represent the Magnet boys. We're gonna, people love the 6 a.m. 6 a.m. stickers, and I took them to a whole new level with magnetizing it.
Yeah, it's like, well, I can just slap it on the fridge. You actually have 3 sides to your fridge that are usually visible that you can put stuff on, and
every day you're gonna see it. Like you go to get your ice cream out your freezer, and there's
Oh,
Aquila.
if only I had ice cream. Oh, and
Yeah,
here's the Elliot Rodriguez mini print. That thing is
yeah,
just so vibrantly gorgeous.
yeah. So that's done by the colors are done by Avery Ferdinand, who did the colors of the book as well.
Hmm.
Um, but Elliot is a little known talent right now. I think he's going to go places. He's got his own project on the way called Ominous. A lot of people talking about books that they're excited for this year. Elliot is a very, I was joking before when I called Dean humble. No disrespect, like that's just Dean's style. Is he's very proud of what he accomplishes. But Elliot, he's a bit more soft spoken. He's a bit quieter, and he doesn't quite get the attention that I think he deserves. He's an incredible talent, an amazingly nice guy, um, very just a good person. When you get the energy and you just know that somebody's a good person, like outside of the internet. He's just a phenomenal fella,
Hmm.
and he did this piece for me, and he put his all into making it, and he did an incredible. He's an incredible talent, and he really made a big splash when he presented this, and when we got Avery's colors to it, it just ascended, and everybody's going to be blessed when they get this mini print in the mail with their comic.
Oh yeah. Hey, Diggs, welcome.
Hail.
And Crazy said, "There, Dean, consider him harassed."
Uh, Dean doesn't harass me. It's a mutual harassment.
The Mutual Harassment Society.
Yeah. And yeah, that was the final stretch goal, because originally the book was going to be black and white. And that was because with Aquila, what I want is a book that calls back to classic science fiction. So what I kind of like a tagline, a promotion statement that I say, but I believe it, is that Aquila is classic comic, a new comic with a classic feel. And I've made it so that visually it's stunning, and it looks like a 22nd century, to be honest, comic.
Hmm.
But I wanted it to be a golden age feel. I wanted it to call back to retro science fiction TV shows and science fiction shows from the days of black and white television before Star Trek. Things like Flash Gordon, things like Buck Rogers, that type of thing. When
Hmm.
comic books used to be printed in newspapers in black and white, that type of feel. That's what I wanted. And so we were going to do the book completely in black and white. And then as a little experiment, we said, well, why don't we get one page colored? Let's see what happens if we get one page colored. And this was like 3 days before the campaign launched, right? So, and we got one page colored, and that was it. Like after we saw this, we were just incensed to get the entire book colored, and thankfully we crossed over that landmark, and we crossed over that stretch.
Oh yeah.
Like just days, hours before the campaign wrapped up. And the moment it was announced that it was gonna be colored, I think we went up by like 10, 20%.
Oh nice.
So it made a huge difference, and I'm very proud. I'm very pleased that now the book everybody's gonna get is gonna be the most colorful, the most spectacular, the most explosive comic they've had in years, and the colors are really an important part of that, and you don't realize it until you kind of see the whole project as it was black and white and as it is now with the colors.
It's like, get us over 6K, or this beautiful page is coming your way in black and white.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't quite put it like that, but that definitely was what I guess the general sentiment was, and we got that one done about halfway through the campaign as well, just as an extra incentive. And Avery and Cari, they did an incredible job. And Cari's art by itself, black and white, looked phenomenal. But Avery's colors, just wow.
Yeah, this is just like out of the park.
Yeah. I mean, I know I'm probably biased, but I think it really is one of the best looking comics. Mainstream and otherwise. I think it's really one of the best looking comics that people are going to get, and things are only going up from here. Everybody's constantly leveling up. I've definitely grown as a creator. Everyone that contributed to the project has grown as artists and editors, and we're only going to see more amazing things come out of the people that worked on this project. And you want to be there at the start. You want to get the first Aquila. You want to have at least that to say, I was there before this thing really took off, because it's going to be an amazing journey.
Yeah, I was always into like indie comics because, back in the 80s, I was like, what do you mean indie comics?
Yeah.
Means people that don't work for Marvel and DC make comics. I go, really?
Yeah.
And then, it's blown up, and, I've gotten like great deals like online through like, Facebook live sales where, like I scored, Mike Grell's entire original run of John Sable Freelance for like $20. And I'm, just looking at his covers on that, and I'm like, yeah, he went on to, bigger and better things, and he's still doing. And then the guys that were huge when I was growing up in the industry have just turned around and be like, yeah, we're leaving this behind. I'm all set. And gone back and, are working on like their own creations, or, doing work for like other creators now.
Yeah.
Like covers and stuff. Now, this Phoenix Guard badge pen.
Yes.
I'm looking at it, and it almost looks like it might have been slightly inspired by Judge Dredd.
Not at all, actually.
Wow. It's just got that, it's got that crest and it made me think of like the big shoulder pads that the judges wear. And
right. No, Judge Dredd is actually not like the only inspiration that I take from Judge Dredd is from the 2000 and what was it, 2011 movie, 2012 movie, where at the end of his great big long chaotic struggle, he just gets on his bike and goes to his next mission. That's really what Aquila is inspired by. And but I've not actually read a Judge Dredd comic, so
wow.
The idea of the Phoenix Guard came out of the character being called Aquila. The character was called Aquila because, as I said earlier, he was originally like a Roman soldier superhero, and I intended him to be this like Roman legionnaire, Captain America kind of thing, but he got stuck in time, and then he came out, and it was the 21st century, and he was, instead of being an American GI, he was a Roman legionnaire, right? That was the original. Somehow, I don't know how, but it turned into a space cop. And but I kept the name. I kept some of the trappings that came with it, and so I came up with this idea called the Phoenix Guard. That sounds really cool. And so every I didn't want it to be like the Aquila Force. I didn't want it to be because then I didn't want it to be like the Aquila Police or something like that, because then it diminished the name of Aquila. If there's a million Aquilas, then he's not special, right? Aquila means eagle in Latin. So the flag of the Roman Empire, the emblem of the Roman Empire was the eagle, the Aquila. And so I took that and I decided that every Phoenix Guard, when they are commissioned to protect their respective solar system, they have a name that is a Latin bird name, right? So there's Cygna, who's kind of got like a swan element. There's Buteo, who's got a hawk element. These are what their animal names are, and the bird names are in Latin. And thankfully, there's no shortage of taxonomical names for birds. So, I wanted it to be these elements from the name that reflected in the character's design and made them different in a way, but also kind of tied them together as a unit, so they all have the same uniform, but it's slightly different. If you have a look at like the Power Rangers, for example, their uniforms are all the same, but the T-Rex one has got a T-Rex helmet. The Triceratops one has got a Triceratops helmet, and you can tell the difference. If they were all, black and white, you'd be able to tell which one was which just by the helmet designs. Yeah. And so that's what the Phoenix Guard comes from. The other thing is that police shields in general have an eagle on them. If you look at the badge of like I'm just going to verify this before I put my foot in my mouth. But the badge of the New York City Police, for example, they've got an eagle on it, right? The FBI logo, I think, is an eagle, if I'm not mistaken. No, I'm wrong. The CIA logo, but it's like a hallmark that a police symbol is an eagle, right? It's either a star or an eagle, and so that just seemed like the logical choice to have like an avian phoenix as the symbol.
I like the colors on it, but I was kind of disappointed there was no Judge Dredd connection. But
yeah, I see where you're coming from. But it's pure if it's purely coincidental. Yeah.
And this is the standee.
Yeah, you're gonna get that as a 6-inch acrylic standee. I've been talking with the factory. We're gonna get them very soon. Dean finished the letters as well, so I want to make sure that we've got everything in order before I hit go and everything starts on its way. So the standee, they're going to be great, and they're going to look amazing. You're going to have a great experience with them.
Cool. Yeah, I like it. It's kind of like a new wave thing,
Yeah.
It's like we didn't make like $250,000 on the campaign, so we can't afford to make action figures. But
Right.
We have this because all you're going to do with an action figure, you might play with it a little bit when you first take it out of the package or like repose it or something. But for the most part, they all just stand on your shelves and look pretty.
Right, unless you have kids or something like that.
Oh, no, stay away from Daddy's action figures. But the most you're going to do is they're going to sit there, they're going to look pretty, and you're going to spend hours like looking up at them in awe that those are your toys that are never to be played with.
Right.
And this it's not a problem for these because
Yeah. Well.
That's their job. They stand there and they look pretty.
Yeah, I mean, there's people have often compared comic heroes and superheroes to be like the 20th century's gods, right? The 20th century's idols. This is a Grant Morrison thing. I think other people have said it, but a take that I've just kind of made up on the spot here is that. When the religions of Europe stopped worshiping idols and they transitioned to saints and they started to use icons, right? They use pictures, and perhaps there's something going on there where, you know, a pictorial representation is equally as cherished as a, like, you know, 3D posable part sold separately, you know.
Yeah.
Maybe there's some kind of mental transition going on there, but yeah, you know, we're gonna get a really cool standee. And look, if you think that looks cool, when uh, when Cari was writing the book, when she was drawing the book, she included Aquila, and this was like meant to be Aquila's grand entrance, right? Like he's stepping into the first time. This is the first time a comic reader is going to see him in the narrative ever, and he does this entrance, and this was going to be it. And I was pleased with it. I was like, yeah, no, Cari, go for it. That looks awesome. She wasn't. She was like, nah, I can do better. So I just thought, well, I'm not going to let you just throw this out, you know, because it looks awesome. So I managed to keep the file. I managed to, you know, convince her to give me the file. And you know, I'm very much a believer in using the whole buffalo, you know, and yeah, so we had this amazing piece that wasn't going to see the light of day. And like I said, if you think that looks cool, wait until you see the actual page with the different design, because that is something she wasn't pleased with.
Now, staring at this, it dawned on me that he's holding his pistol in his right hand.
Yeah, and his holster's on his left.
But the holster's on his left leg.
Yeah. Yeah, well, think of it like a sword, right? Like, you know,
like a cross draw.
Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah,
because you see that in like plenty of westerns where they, you know, they don't put their 6-shooters in traditional spots. They're actually turned backwards so they cross over and draw them out.
Right. Well, the holster of the Phoenix Guard. I'm going to get into proper nerd territory now. The holster of a Phoenix Guard is called a hyper holster, and not all Phoenix Guards come from Earth. Some of them come from different cultures. Some of them come from a place with higher gravity, where where bullets were never invented because there was, it required greater propulsion to shoot a bullet. So they just stuck with swords. Some of them come from planets where they've got speed shields, like in Dune, right? So they can't use guns because that'll cause a nuclear explosion, or you get. So the Phoenix Guard being a very very diverse and inclusive organization, they've invented weapons that they've invented something called the hyper holster, where effectively the weapon that you need and prefer will be generated inside the holster.
Oh, okay.
So
where can I get one of those?
I don't know. Maybe if I can't get action figures, maybe I can get hyper holsters, and we can get something like that done. Maybe.
Cool.
But yeah, so Aquila, he's originally from Earth. He's a cop from Earth, so he prefers to use a gun. But maybe sometimes he might need a gun. He might need a knife. Sometimes he might need a spear. So long as the particles can be rearranged into that shape. Obviously they can't use the holster to create a tank, right? But the particles in that little pistol can reorganize into a lasso, or into a shuriken, or whatever you need.
Very cool.
Nunchaku.
Yeah. Hail to Ace.
Yeah. Hail.
How are you? Good to see you. But I just really like the look of this, and of course the colors are like fantastic.
Yeah, the colors really brought a whole, like I said, it just brought a whole different dimension to what was already incredible artwork. And when you see what the book actually is going to look like, with all 24 pages, you're just going to be salivating. It's going to look good.
And the box is awesome with the artwork all over it.
Yeah, and I actually because the service that I was using to create the boxes, they underwent some changes, and all the designs that I had saved vanished. So I had to redo that actually, like, recently. Excuse
Wow.
me. I had to redo that recently, and so now it looks even better.
Nice. I'm growing a collection of boxes now. I got
Yeah.
one from Chris Fisk for his first book.
Uh-huh.
I got the Mavericks one, and what else?
Yeah, the boxes are here.
I've got like two or three of them, and I'm like, I've been putting them away. I've got them in like a short box, so I'm putting the boxes in another box until I get my bookcases all set and my comic cove all rearranged, and then they'll go up on a special shelf. So
Yeah, the boxes are here to stay. I think the way things go, a lot. We people, when they get a comic, they get a lot of other stuff with it. And those things might go in drawers, or they might go, they might disappear. But if you get a box, everything's going to be in one place.
Crazy says he has a ginormous stack of Gemini mailers.
He can send them to me. I have use for them.
Yeah, just run them by the city, so he can use those to mail out the single issues.
Yeah, a lot of people did the boxes. I'm not sure who was the first. I think Earth, maybe. He was the kind of genesis of it all. But they're good. They're good. They're a great. They're a great thing to have, especially this one, because you're gonna get a lot of cool stuff inside of it, and it's got beautiful artwork, and they make great backdrops as well. To put on. To put on a shelf, or to kind of stand on a shelf, like and as DVDs are going the way of the dinosaur, Blu-rays, they're becoming more of a collector's item. I think there's something very tangible about having a box, and we're gonna have a lot of room on shelves to put things on them.
Well, I'm actually keeping all my DVDs, and well, for the most part,
Right.
there's a few of them like, yeah, I bought it because it was like on sale, and I hadn't seen that. I figured, what's an extra $5?
Right.
But for the most part, my DVDs are like shows and movies that I grew up on, and like newer stuff that came out from. I'm a Batman nut, and it wasn't up until about a year or so ago, about 2 years ago, that I quit buying anything mainstream.
Right.
Like, the only thing I was getting from Marvel was that last Hulk run, because I've been collecting Hulk forever. And that was just a great story arc. And I've been buying Batman and Detective Comics since like 1974.
Wow.
So I unfortunately have sold my collection a bunch of times over. And every time it was supposed to go to fix my car, it ended up just financing a different keg party. So that'll tell you the age range I was in when I sold my collections.
Right. Well, you can start an AQUILA collection.
Oh yeah, it's easy. It's right here.
Right.
So the important question is, how much longer will this be in demand?
Right. So we've seen campaigns that, like I said earlier, when people receive the book, they make like another 33%, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's going to be the case with Aquila. I mean, I don't want to jinx myself or put a curse on on the book or anything like that. But I think when people get the book and they might start seeing it and more places, more people will talk about it. I'm confident enough in this book that I expect there's going to be a lot of word of mouth,
Mm-hmm.
So pretty much indefinitely. You know, I don't want to kind of people are moving away to their own sites, and so
Yeah.
uh, even if it comes off Indiegogo, there might be alternate avenues to purchase it in the near future. But if you want to get it, strong recommendation that you get a first printing,
Yeah.
because then you'll have a first printing of Aquila.
You will get the first printing of Aquila. You will get the Rich Ayala
Trading
trading
card.
card. You'll
Yep.
get the standee. You'll get the patches and magnets and
Yeah.
all the extra cool stuff that comes with it. And if you
Exactly.
buy the featured tier, you will get even more cool stuff.
Exactly. And you get the box. You get
Yeah,
the
and the box, and you will have a box to keep it all in.
yeah. So obviously sooner the better. But yeah, it's going to be in demand a little while longer.
Okay.
And then when Aquila 2 comes about, we'll talk about maybe sending out a bundle, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it.
Yeah. What usually happens is, in my experience, is that usually about a month before somebody's gonna start to promote the next issue, they take down the last one, and then they make available, like, sometimes they do like a different cover for the number one to make sure everybody knows it's the second print. But
Mm-hmm.
you just keep doing your catch up tier, because you never know who hasn't seen this before, and new people coming on all the time, building your audience. And
Yeah.
you know
Exactly, and we're only going to grow. Things are going to explode, and like I said, we've got so much talent out here that there's only a matter of time until some Leviathan, some whale is going to come across and put a lot of backing into some of these projects. So it's good to keep everything fresh, but also remind everybody of the product that you already have and that's out there and can be purchased.
Oh yeah. This art is just gorgeous, dude.
Yeah. It's I'm blessed. I have an incredible team and a great group of people that really put a lot of work into it, and I'm kind of one of the benefits of being in the position that I had is that everybody I've hired, they're all young, they're all hungry, they're all new. They really want to make a bigger splash, and they're only getting better. Everyone's just constantly evolving and improving, and there's no sign of stagnation. There's no sign of devolution. Everything's going to be awesome, and we're all going to make it.
Crazy says forever. Stay in demand forever.
I'll stay in demand. I might not stay in demand on Indiegogo.
Yeah. There's lots of places coming up, and a lot of people are forced. When they have the ability to foster their own website, they'll
Yeah,
usually do that. And
exactly. Right. And sorry if you just heard somebody start like a jet engine or something outside. There's some volume coming from the other side of my window. But yeah, like everyone's growing, and we're all growing as business people. We're all growing as financiers. We're all we're all slowly but surely we're all figuring it out. And there's only I'm being careful what to say because I don't want any kind of retribution. to happen from Indiegogo right now, but we're on our way to when a significant portion of your fees are being taken by your platform, maybe it is a better idea to start cutting costs, right?
Yeah.
Or rather maximizing profit, I should say, rather.
Yeah. Like I know Luke Stone is
Yeah.
launching fundmycomic.com in a
Uh-huh.
few more days,
Right.
and I know that they are the lowest in fees. They only charge like 2%. So,
Right.
and all the money from what I've heard in streams that they're making there is just going back into uh, the IT crew that is responsible for all of that,
Yeah.
and to keep everything, working and updated and the like. It's just going to pay to keep the site up and running.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Well, that's just the mechanics of running a website, really.
Yeah.
Especially like a crowdfunding site, there's not really like um, what do you want to call it? What's the word I'm looking for? It's not like a not Substack. What am I thinking of? What's the company? Squarespace. There's not really a Squarespace template
Oh
for a
yeah.
crowdfunding site.
Yeah.
But there are avenues. Shopify is the one that's most talked about. There are ways to start. And if whatever works for you, if you think going on Indiegogo and you think Indiegogo is driving all the traffic to your campaign, maybe it's a better idea to stay on Indiegogo. But if you're a small campaign and you've not made over $10,000, or you want to just want to maximize your how much money you get to take home, maybe it is a better idea to switch over to a different different venue. And if you own that venue, then those costs are going to be cut even more. So
Yeah.
But like I said, I don't intend for AQUILA to go into hiding anytime soon. As soon as I'm comfortable and as soon as everything's in people's hands, I want to get the ball rolling all over again. I want to get AQUILA 2 out to you. I've got 12 scripts I've been sitting on that I'm, waiting to give the comic treatment to and turn into make it a real thing, because a script without a final product is just a napkin, really, isn't it? So
Yeah, it's just a space taker.
right, exactly. So whatever you want to be there first. You want to get the first edition AQUILA. You want to get the first copy of the book. Strong recommendation that you get it now. You get it before we change things up, and before everyone else does, because you don't want, like I said, the ending to this is so explosive and so chaotic that people are going to talk about it, and you might get spoiled. And I really don't want that to happen. I want everyone to have that sort of glistening look of enjoyment in their eyes when they don't know what's going to happen next. So.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I want to thank you for coming on, and
I appreciate it. Thank you for having me
and chatting up. And like they say, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere.
Absolutely. And I doubt you're gonna mind. I think our mutual friend, Mr. Jeremy Therano, Colonel Crackhead himself, Zaid Studios is I am actually multilingual, and
Yeah.
I can speak like 3 languages other than English, and I can't believe I can't say his name. It's because especially since French is one of those languages. But
JT.
Yeah, like he's on Bancroft right now. So if everyone wants to jump over and support him on the Bancroft channel, go ahead. Strong recommendation that you do. Get beckoned, recourse. One of the
before it's
most
gone. 'Cause,
one of the most incredible looking.
I got mine today. So
Awesome. It's one of the most incredible looking comics out there.
yeah, it's gorgeous.
Doesn't look like it's just going to be a single standalone book either. I think there's going to be sequels. Zayd has put half of his life, it seems, into creating that project, and it would be a big shame if we didn't see more of it. So go out there, get Beckoned Recourse by Zayd Studios, and you won't be disappointed. Incredible work, incredible art, incredible story, incredible setting. Just go get it right now.
Do it now. Get to
do it now.
And get to Bancroft Show for the closeout stream. Go support them over there. And we will see everybody next Wednesday right here on Creators Out.
Adios.